Hello everyone, I am Dr. Shreyas Simu from EDC Department, Don Bosco College of Engineering. So today I am going to give you a small orientation about the topic soft computing. Okay, so in this topic or in this subject, what do we have? Okay, what are the contents of this topic? Soft computing, softening is a subject wherein you look at different aspects, different kind of algorithms, different kinds of techniques, procedures, which will make human life easy. Okay, so soft computing, this subject, basically what we have introduced has a basic introduction and some concepts and definitions of all these topics which are on this slide. Okay, so the whole syllabus will be divided into 4 different units, and the units will contain these topics. The first one, in unit 1, you'll have soft computing and neural networks. That's the basics of soft computing. In second unit, you'll have fuzzy logic, and third unit, you'll have nature-inspired algorithms, and in the fourth unit, you'll have deep learning and hybrid systems. Okay, so I'll give you a brief introduction to all of these topics in this presentation. So before we start, now what is soft computing? Okay, and before we get into dive into this, please remember what are we going to learn about. So what is it? Soft computing is closely related to artificial intelligence, deep learning and machine learning, right? And I would like to say to you, welcome to the future, because these are the topics or these are fields which are going to dominate the future, and they are already doing it so right now. So this is a food for thought. Whatever you're doing, okay, you have to understand it, because artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning is a very big thing, and it is going to be applied in all the different domains that we have. Now, let's come to the topic. What is soft computing? Soft computing, I have given 2 definitions over here. You can go ahead and read them, right? But what it basically tells you is that we are trying to mimic, or we are trying to model human brain or human behavior, how a person learns things and how he takes decisions. That is what we are going to put it into a machine. Okay, that is what we are trying to do over here. Now, what is soft computing and what is hard computing? What is the difference? Now, I'll tell you what is hard computing first. So hard computing is nothing but it is based on mathematical base. It has a strong mathematical base. It has different rules and regulations which are followed. Okay? So in maths, when you say 2 plus 2 is 4, right, or different rules, and what you do, you change everything, right? So they are very precise computations. The rules are fixed. You cannot change them. Input-output procedures also are well defined. But in soft computing, we can change this. Sometimes they are vague. Some definitions can be changed. Procedures can be changed a little bit. Rules are a little bit flexible. So you can work around with a fixed a variable degree of error. You have a degree of error in that, and you can work around the whole system and whole calculations. Okay, so this is what is basically your soft computing. Now, why do we need to study soft computing? Why do we need to study? So soft computing, AI, machine learning, it's a big deal, as I said earlier. So a lot of companies are hiring in this domain. Okay, there are a lot of and what we do in soft computing is basically we automate the whole process. What we're trying to do over here is we're trying to automate the whole process. So any process that you have where it requires extensive manual work, right, and the steps are well defined, then you can automate the whole process, right? And we also use them to solve complex problems which are difficult to solve by a human, right? Or it takes a lot of time, or it consumes a lot of memory. So then these things can be done using soft computing. Now, where is soft computing? Soft computing is everywhere. Just look around yourself. Just look around yourself. Whatever you do, whatever you're doing right now, the phone that you're using, the laptop that you're looking the video into, right? All this has soft computing involved in some way or the other. I'll tell you one small thing before we move on. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, okay? If you're not using it, it is using you. Okay? And that's the truth. We have no idea that so many of the companies like Facebook, Instagram and others and Google, all of these are taking data from your phone, your laptop, and they're tracking your movement and everything. So as well, why don't we learn it? Why don't we understand what is really happening, and how do we have control over with us, right? So soft computing is, as I told you, it's in natural language processing like Google Translate, right? Transliteration, right? Then computer vision, robotics, and computational biology, that's a medicinal biology where we want to do some experiments, right? Search, website optimization, even in finance, it is used in stock market. Where do you see where the stocks are going? E-commerce, right? And social media networks, as I said earlier. So these are the topics that we have. And now what we are going to look at also is that what are the applications of this in other domains. Like obviously in electronics engineering and computer engineering, we have these applications of soft computing. You do signal processing, and after the signal processing are done, you try to extract information out of it and analyze what is happening. And image and video analysis also, you do the same thing. And also, of course, we use it in robotics and computer vision because it will help in developing automated systems, smarter systems, right? And for electrical engineers, where we use adaptive controls in a lot of machines and PLCs and industrial automation. We try to have a better control over it and try to reduce the human interface as much as possible. We can also use it for different kinds of failure detection and monitoring techniques, wherein you want to stop the error, or you reduce the error what is happening by machine or any procedure that you're doing. You want to reduce it, we can use this. For mechanical and civil engineers, we can have intelligent control of the machines by introducing some control over the machines, or maybe the variable speed of the motor, or change or take some decisions in between. Wherever you have human interface along with the industrial automation or machines involved, you can remove that by using a soft computing technique or a procedure. Also for fault diagnosis, like if you are doing a diagnosis of some concrete structure or something else, we can also use these techniques, which will give you a better understanding and less error. So what we're trying to do over here in soft computing is we always try to get optimized results. We try to get best possible result in less number of time and with higher accuracy. That is what we do. Now these are the applications, as I said earlier, of soft computing in speech recognition, language processing, biomedical signal analysis, like your EEG signal, EMG signals, ECG signals. You can be used to analyze or you predict the disease that the people are getting, right? Or any problem, if the health problem if they have. So this can be predicted long before it actually occurs. So in image processing applications also we are into very big, this is a good region or domain where a lot of soft computing machine learning techniques are used, right? So object recognition, facial recognition, then understanding all the satellite images, also medical images such as radiograph, CT, MRI, etc. can be analyzing this, finding the tumor or any other anomaly that is there can be also done. Then we come to robotics and computer vision. Of course, you must have seen this or seen on the internet or somewhere on the TV that there are smarter phones, there are smarter systems that have come in which help you recognize the environment around you, right? So that's done by basically using pattern recognition. And what they do is they extract information or extract features like color, brightness, shape and size and texture, etc. So these are the ways that what is there in the soft computing. Now I'll quickly give you a glimpse of what are the things that we are basically constitute a part of soft computing. So in soft computing, basically you have can be divided into three different categories. You have nature-inspired algorithms, you have fuzzy systems, and you have artificial neural networks. Now nature-inspired algorithms can be evolutionary algorithms of swarm optimization. So we will see all of this in unit 3. And in unit 2 you have a fuzzy inference system, and unit 1 we have artificial neural networks, and deep neural networks will be a part of unit 4. Okay, so these are the things that we have, and this is the hierarchy of the whole syllabus. Now coming to expert systems. Expert systems also is something, what we do is like how a teacher is an expert of a subject, right? So we also design a system that way. So expert system is a different kind of a device or a machine that just takes the input and gives you the final output. So you don't have to worry about anything else. So you just give it your problem to it and it will give you the solution. You don't have to work around and you analyze what is happening in it. So this person or the expert system basically depends on a lot of knowledge is required, and he must have a lot of experience and it gives you the output. So this is what also we are going to study in the soft computing syllabus. Now coming to artificial neural networks, you must have heard a lot about this artificial neural networks. It is basically an attempt to imitate the functionality of human brain. So we are trying to just mimic how the human brain works, how the nerve connections, how the synapses that are present in our brain, how they function, how the decisions are made. So similarly, we will do that in artificial neural network. So what we do is we learn the system, the network learns from past experience or past behavior. It memorizes it, it keeps it into its network, and then when the same input comes or data comes in, you give the output. It gives decision based on your past behavior. So that is one that we are going to look into. And in unit 2 we are going to look at fuzzy systems. Now in fuzzy system what we do is, what is fuzzy, by the way? Fuzzy, the word tells you, it means blurred, indistinct or vague, right? So there are, when we take decisions in real life, right? We don't take binary decisions like ones and zeros. Okay, there is no white and black, there's always a gray area, right? So for that gray area, and there's a gray area when you are confused, so still you take some kind of decision based on some analysis, based on your past experience or something. So that is what a fuzzy system does. Fuzzy systems, are a rule-based systems, but they are softer. Okay, there are some rules which are not hard, they are soft. That means you don't have any fixed rules or specific rules. Based on how it is, you will take a decision. Okay, so it's okay, I'll just give you an example over here. What is a rule-based system? So this is your fuzzy logic. It will have if and else clauses like this. You say if teaching quality is good and student hard work is more, then the student will get high marks in exam, and so on. So you can make a fuzzy rule or fuzzy inference engine of anything in the world. You make just such kind of rules, and these rules are given to the system and it will behave accordingly. So look at what the beauty of this system. Anything which you can write in simple if and else clause can be used. Like simple English constructs can be used and design a system. So what we look at over here, we have to give mathematical analysis to how the machines will understand, right? Machines understand maths, right? They don't understand English. So all these variables like good, bad, more, less, average, high, low, these have to be given some kind of a membership function, some kind of function to it, and then accordingly your machine will work. So all this we are going to see in the subject. Now we will also look at, you must have studied about classical set and classical set, that's a binary logic or classical logic. So it is always ones and zeros, it has crisp membership function, right? Then you have Venn diagrams, intersection and all that, right? But in fuzzy set we have membership values. Like in that case what we say is, we say that, I'll give an example. When a student is bright, how do you compare, if you're comparing students in your class, right? Who based on his marks, okay, he's topper, okay, and then there's an average student and then there's a weak student, right? So you will say over here, so and so person is 0.8 of the topper, okay, or 0.5, okay. So here you have from between the values from 0 to 1, okay. You basically you have degrees. You have degrees. How good is he? How good this person is with that compared to that person. So that is what relationships we are going to do in this particular analysis. So these are top applications of fuzzy logic. It has been used very well everywhere. Japan has taken this into control from in 80s, and they have just run with also all their systems have fuzzy logic, like automobiles, electronics, defense, manufacturing industry, aerospace. So wherever you go, you will see systems running on fuzzy logic. And these are top companies like Honda, Nissan, Isuzu, Mitsubishi, Sanyo, Hitachi. All of them use these fuzzy logic systems. Okay, now coming to Unit 3. Before we go that, I want to tell you that Unit 3 is about evolutionary algorithms and genetic algorithms. So, if you remember a person who gave a theory of evolution, that is Charles Darwin, what he said is, there's not the strongest of the species that survives, but the intelligent one is that one survives. So that is one which is most adaptable to change, right? So if you can change, you will, and you can adapt to the environment, then you will survive. So we'll see what it is. So what's evolution? Evolution is basically a system, what we have seen, theory of evolution that is given by Charles Darwin. A species got evolved and adapted to the environment so that they can survive. They do not get extinct because of natural causes, or if the predators are trying to attack the prey or something, right? So in this unit we are going to see those algorithms that with which we got inspired. So these are nature inspired algorithms, and algorithms that will optimize our systems. Basically all the genetic algorithms and every algorithm that we are going to see are used to optimize the system to get the best possible result. So we can once your machine is running and everything, you can get the result. No doubt you'll get the result. But the key thing over here is, have you got the best possible result? And to get the best possible result, we are going to use these algorithms. Now, what are evolutionary algorithms? I've been talking about all this for so long. So we have got inspired from natural processes, right? Like you must have seen many of the inventions that has been done using biological or natural principles, okay, to design human system, like the prosthetic leg, right? The radar, which has been we mimic bats to invent a radar, and we saw how fish moves in this water, and we invented submarine. And then there are other things. So what we saw is, in genetic algorithm, what we do is we saw the genetics. What happens? You have mutation, you have crossover of the data, right? Or of the chromosomes. So we saw that and we realized, okay, we can also mimic this in algorithms. We can adapt, we can change, and we can optimize our things. So that is where evolutionary algorithms came into picture. So coming to that was all about unit 3, and then unit 4 you're going to have deep neural networks. Deep neural networks is an extension to your artificial neural networks, and artificial neural networks, as you know, it's a network of neurons or network of small units and nodes, right? In deep neural networks, what we have is the number of layers in the network or neural network is increased to a large extent, right? And what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning? In machine learning, you need to extract the features and then you give it to the network or classification, and that will give the answer. So what is happening over here is, you have the data, you have the input, right? And you extract information from it and then classify and put it into, okay, is it a car or is it not a car? But deep learning, you don't have to do the feature extraction process. Everything is done by the network itself, right? You just give the input data to it, it will tell you whether it's a car or not a car. Okay? So we will look into deep neural network as well. So neural network, artificial neural networks were invented around 1980s, and deep learning this started just recently, that is in 2010s, right? So these are things that we are going to look into in unit 4. And apart from that, we have a small topic called as hybrid systems, and we are going to study hybrid systems because each of the systems, using them alone, a standalone system, will solve a lot of problems, but in some cases it might not be efficient, or it might not be that great. So what we do is, we try to mix these systems, artificial neural network and evolutionary or fuzzy, any of these two we mix and we combine to get advantage of all the systems, okay, and try to remove the disadvantage. So it will give a better performance. So this is also what we are going to see in unit 4. Okay, that's it from my side. So you must have also heard about a 10 years challenge, right? So what is 10 years challenge? 10 years challenge, people were using the old photos and new photos and saying that, okay, this is what happens. So what is happening over there? As I told you earlier, all the systems run on data, and data is a key, data is the next oil. So all the machines, all the software algorithms that we have will be running or will be empowered by all this data. So this was actually used to create better systems by Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so we all fell for it, right? So that's it. That's from my side. Thank you and have a good day.